Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to Shelo Mystics. You have been guided to this reading today. There may be a message here that is meant to find you at exact right time. We will be taking a look at the energies surrounding your past, present, and future, the challenges or the obstacles influencing your path, and the deeper truth emerges through the clarifying cards. As always, this is a general reading, so take what resonates and leave what does not. Trust your intuition. As we move through the message coming forward, Sagittarius, let's see what the cards have in store for you today. Let's begin. Past, we have Queen of Swords. Present, we have Six of Pentacles. Future, we have Knight of Pentacles. Obstacles, Temperance. Outcome is Seven of Cups. Let me pull up clarifiers for all the cards. Clarifier for the past Queen of Swords is Judgment, Two of Wands, Seven of Swords, and Sun. Present Six of Pentacles. The clarifiers are Star, World, Five of Swords, and Six of Pentacles. See, the same clarifier has appeared. Knight of Pentacles. The clarifiers are Six of Cups, Fool, Five of Wands, and Hierophant. Mystical Temperance sub clarifiers are Three of Wands, Eight of Cups, Ace of Cups, and Four of Pentacles. And the outcome Seven of Cups, the clarifiers are Nine of Pentacles, Four of Cups, Queen of Wands, and Two of Cups. Let's go ahead and dissect this, understand what's the card and the spirit tells us. Sagittarius, this is a love reading for the month of June 2026, a general reading, so energies may apply differently for different Sagittarius. What immediately stands out to me before we even begin is that this reading is heavily focused on personal changes. There are a few cards here that indicates rushing, chasing, and dramatic or romantic action. Spirit is showing me a journey of maturity, self respect, healing, and making a wiser decision in love. The strongest repeating theme throughout this reading is the truth and choice, healing, and the significant love connection that appears only after emotional clarity is kind of achieved. So let's take a look at each of these cards, understand what's happening and what to be done. Okay, let's start with the Queen of Swords in the past, followed by Judgment, Two of Wands, Seven of Swords, and Sun as a clarifier. The first thing I notice is the Queen of Swords is not naturally Sagittarian energy. This is generally Sagittarians are optimistic, spontaneous, and willing to believe best in people. And the Queen of Swords appears when the optimism has been tested. What is interesting is that Judgment is sitting directly behind her. It's a card of awakening, not the ones in the spiritual sense only. There's awakening of facts, awakening of patterns. So something that was always been there, but it was not fully acknowledged. So we do see the Two of Wands. It creates a bridge between Queen of Swords and the Seven of Swords here. Because once you see the truth, you must decide what to do with it. That's the choice. And this is where spirits show a significant crossroads. Somebody may have been giving multiple opportunities, multiple chances, conversations, or multiple times of explanation, but eventually the Seven of Swords confronts. Now, the Seven of Swords does not always mean cheating. There is a strategic avoidance. This is somebody not addressing the real issue, avoiding taking accountability, wants to keep certain thoughts hidden, and presenting one version of the reality while internally operating from a different perspective. What fascinates me is that the sun follows through immediately afterwards. The sun exposes whatever the seven of swords attempts to hide. This creates a very powerful narrative. The truth was hidden, the judgment activated the awareness, a decision has to be made here. The hidden eventually becomes visible. Visibility produced the Queen of Swords here. The Queen of Swords is not the beginning of the story, it's the result of the story, is what we see. Coming to the present energy, Six of Pentacles here appears repeatedly. When Spirit repeats a card as both the main and the clarifier, pay attention, the message becomes non negotiable here. The Six of Pentacles is not just about giving and receiving, this is about who is investing, who is carrying the connection, who is initiating, who is compromising a lot or adjusting to things. Because many Sagittarius individuals have been functionally under Five of Swords dynamics here. Notice how the Five of Swords appear before the Six of Pentacles. This is significant. It often produces a winner and a loser, but the relationship don't work that way. A relationship where somebody constantly wins eventually becomes a relationship where everybody loses. That's why the world appears next year. The chapter has reached its natural conclusion. The lesson cannot teach you anything further. The placement of the star is beautiful because it's followed through closure. So the star appears when the storm has already passed. This suggests that Sagittarius is currently rebuilding the faith in love, timing, and having faith in oneself. Then repeated Six of Pentacles here says the next chapter cannot operate under the same rules of the previous chapter. Future energy. This is kind of moving slowly forward. Be it the Knight of Pentacles, Six of Cups, Fool, Five of Wands, and Hierophant. Because Sagittarius normally prefers Knight of Wands energy, something fast, exciting, spontaneous, passionate. Instead, Spirit gives the Knight of Pentacles the slowest night. Why? Because of what happened in the past. The entire reading is correcting instability. It is correcting the inconsistency. The Knight of Pentacles does create the sense of excitement here, creates the security, and the Six of Cups represents the familiarity. It's about emotional recognition. It can be an ex, but it also can be somebody who feels strangely familiar, somebody whose energy immediately lowers your defense. This is where the paradox begins. The fool wants freedom, Hierophant wants commitment. These are opposite energies, yet they both appear in the same storyline because somebody wants a fresh start, but they also want a meaningful start. The conflict is also something that is still present with this Five of Wands. This could be an internal conflict. The questions would be like, can I trust this? Am I ready? Should I risk this? Will this repeat the past? So Hierophant ultimately settles the argument, which tells me whatever develops in the future has serious potential to attach to it. Coming to obstacles, the real obstacle isn't love. This is one of the deepest part of the reading because the temperance is Sagittarius. The obstacle cards is literally our own energy. That immediately tells me the spirit wants Sagittarius to examine their own emotional contradictions. Let's look at the clarifiers here, the Three of Wands. It's about waiting, expecting, looking ahead, then followed by the Eight of Cups. Walking away and distancing yourself, being emotionally withdrawn. Notice the contradiction. One part of the Sagittarius is waiting for love, another one is preparing for an exit strategy. One part wants intimacy, and the other one wants protection. The Ace of Spirit places between this Four of Pentacle energy. Because the Ace of Cups is about emotional availability and emotional reservation. One says stay open, other one stay protect yourself. This is the central tension of the month June. Here's what we see. Now we have the outcome. The Seven of Cups is actually is positive here. I don't think it's a primary confusion or things because the clarifiers are pretty strong. Nine of Pentacles says should be a self sufficiency, and Four of Cups says selectiveness is something that you have to focus on, and the Queen of Wands talks about confidence and the partnership by Two of Cups. None of these cards indicate chaos. What they indicate is discernment. The Seven of Cups becomes I have options, but I don't need all of them. And Four of Cups here tells me Sagittarius is rejecting what does not align with them. The Queen of Wands is fascinating because it represents that world version of Queen of Swords from the beginning. This is the past energy. The Queen of Swords kind of gain wisdom through the pain, and the Queen of Wands here expresses wisdom through confidence. These characteristic development across the entire spread. And the final thing, we see the Two of Cups. Notice that the spirit does not end with the Hierophant card here. The cards end with the mutuality. The entire reading begins with the kind of imbalance that we see here. Even though you know, the Queen of Swords and the Queen of Wands here, it's very guarded intellectual and it's very somebody who's very confident. So this is a transformation. It's not from a single to relationship and not from the romance to heartbreak or suspicion. But this is from suspicion to confidence. Now, Sagittarius, let's take a step back from the individual cards for a moment because the spirit is showing something bigger. When I look at the spread as a whole, I don't see a love story. I see the journey from mental clarity to emotional availability. Look at where the reading starts, the Queen of Swords here. And the card ends with the Two of Cups. This is not accidental. The spirit begins the reading with the woman's energy or energy sitting alone. This is more of a thinking, analyzing, observing, protecting oneself. And it ends with a union, partnership, and a mutual exchange. So the entire reading is actually showing the distance between those 2 points. How does somebody go from Queen of Swords to Two of Cups? That's the real reading. Now, notice that it is a two queens in the spread, Queen of Swords and the Queen of Wands. There are no kings. Do we have a king? Let me cross check. Okay. I don't see any king or emperor. There are no masculine court cards controlling the outcome here. This is significant. So, Spirit is saying June is not primarily about another person's action, it's about your own transformation. These are actually the same person at the different stages of life. The Queen of Sword has learned the lessons, the Queen of Wand has integrated those lessons, is what we see. The Queen of Sword asks, can you trust the situation or the person? It's about, you trust yourself at this stage. This is a massive evolution that we see. Now, from this overall spread, this looks like a person who has recently gained clarity about the situation that was confused, inconsistent, or difficult to understand from the situation. The past year shows that there is a realization and also the judgment around something that was not fully revealed or addressed. And there is a sense of realization, whereas you have to create a boundaries with respect to the Queen of Swords. So in the present, we see there is a strong focus on balance, reciprocity, and repeated Six of Pentacles is loud in the entire reading. That the highlighting the situation, about the equal effort, and we do see the star world suggests a closure of a major cycle and suggests that in Five of Swords here suggests leaving behind a dynamic that kind of created a stress on a conflict or an emotional exhaustion. So where is it heading towards doesn't show a fast movement. So be it the Hierophant together suggests that something that develops slowly has the potential to become stable and meaningful here. And a new chapter in either a familiar person or a familiar feeling or a connection that feels comfortable from the start is something that's going to be emerging. So the Five of Wands here is still about resistance, uncertainty, or a competing. So Sagittarius, June 2026 appears to be a transitional month. A difficult chapter is closing, healing is actively taking place, and standards are changing. And the future connection here looks slower, more grounded, and more serious than what the past describes here. The strongest message in this entire spread is not about chasing love or losing love. It's more about moving from imbalance to seeking balance. And the Six of Pentacles, though repeatedly coming up, and Two of Cups stands out as strongly. The reading begins with a lesson about the truth and boundaries and ends with the possibility of mutual emotional exchange. And this is a central storyline throughout the entire spread. June feels like a bridge between what you have learned and what you are about to experience next. Trust the progress you are making, even if it is slow. Trust what you have learned, and most importantly, trust yourself. Thank you very much for spending this time with me. If this reading resonated with you, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, take care of yourself. Stay blessed.